CBSY and our spoilers. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is a beautiful day to just sit down, grab a massive cup of coffee, and unpack the absolute chaos happening on our favorite show. We have so much heavy stuff to talk about today, so let's just jump right into the madness. So let's talk about Nick Newman. Honestly, I don't even know where to start with this guy right now. He is a mess, a complete, absolute, terrifying mess. And I know we've seen Nick go through some incredibly dark times over the years on The Young and the Restless, but this fentanyl addiction storyline, it is hitting so incredibly hard. It's dark. It's gritty. It's honestly hard to watch sometimes because you just want to reach through the screen and shake some sense into him. But at the same time, you can't look away. You just can't. Because the writers are doing something really deep here with his psychology, and we need to break it down. Let's just rewind a bit to how this whole nightmare started. A few episodes ago, everything really spiraled out of control. And it all goes back to that horrific car accident. You guys remember, right? Matt Clark, who is just the absolute worst villain we've had in a long time, was literally hiding in the back seat of Nick's car. He reached around and strangled Nick while he was driving. Just think about how terrifying that is. Nick is behind the wheel, trying to keep his family safe, trying to handle the situation, and suddenly he can't breathe. He can't see. He completely loses control of the vehicle. And if there is one thing Nick Newman hates more than anything else in this entire world, it is losing control. He is a total control freak when it comes to protecting his family, so the car crashes. It's a bad one. Nick ends up in the hospital with a shattered leg in absolute agonizing physical pain. But let's be real, the physical pain was just the beginning. The mental trauma of losing control to Matt Clark is what really broke him. And so he's in the hospital. He's hurting. He's demanding prescription painkillers from the nurses. And at first, you get it. The guy has a broken leg. Of course, he needs meds. But then he starts demanding more and more. And the doctors, because they aren't stupid and they see the signs, they cut him off. They refuse to refill his prescription. And what does Nick do? Does he accept it? Does he ask for an alternative therapy? No, he literally sneaks out of the hospital with a broken leg. I mean, what were they thinking having him do that? It's insane. But it shows you exactly how desperate he was. He was in so much pain, but more than that, he was desperate to get back out there and get his revenge on Matt. He needed to regain his power. He needed to feel like a man again. So because the doctors cut him off, Nick turns to the streets. He turns to street drugs, fentanyl, and here is the sickest, most twisted irony of this entire storyline: the drugs Nick is buying. The fentanyl that is currently destroying his life, rotting his brain, and pushing him to the brink of death. It's being trafficked by Matt Clark. Matt is literally supplying the poison that is killing his worst enemy. And Nick is so blinded by his addiction and his obsession that he's falling right into the trap. It's brilliant writing, honestly, but it is so frustrating to watch. You just want to scream at the TV. Because the real issue here isn't just the drugs. Okay, maybe that sounded dramatic, but you get what I mean? The drugs are a symptom. The real disease is Nick's obsession with Matt Clark. Nick has this massive, overwhelming hero complex. He has always been the golden boy of the Newman family. He's the one everyone relies on. He's the moral compass. He's the guy who saves the day. And he has abused that title to a dangerous degree. He truly, deeply believes that he is the only person on this earth who can stop Matt Clark. He thinks he's the only one who can protect Sharon and Noah and the rest of the family. Nick and Sharon have this deep, complicated history. They've been through so much trauma together over the years. And Nick feels this intense, overwhelming responsibility to shield her from the darkness of the world. But the reality is, Sharon is strong. Sharon has survived so much on her own. She doesn't need Nick to destroy himself to save her. But try telling that to Nick when he's high on fentanyl. In his mind, she's a damsel in distress and he's the knight in shining armor. It's almost narcissistic if you really think about it. Okay, maybe I'm being too harsh calling him a narcissist, but addiction makes people incredibly selfish. It just does. When Nick takes that fentanyl, it does something to his brain. It takes all that physical agony, all that mental anguish, and it twists it into this fake sense of power. Every time he gets high, he feels strong. He feels invincible. The drugs give him this liquid courage, this false bravado that makes him think, yeah, I can take down Matt today. He uses the fentanyl to turn his pain into strength. But it's a lie. It's all a massive lie. He's not getting stronger. He's getting weaker. He's deteriorating right in front of our eyes. And his obsession with revenge is making him so erratic, so aggressive. He's ignoring his own physical health. He's ignoring his mental health. He's ignoring his family. All he cares about is satisfying this deep, dark need for power and control. He hates Matt so much, and he hates that Matt makes him feel powerless, so he gets high to feel powerful. It's a vicious cycle. Even when he finally agreed to go to that outpatient rehab program, what happened? He's sitting there in therapy, supposed to be working on his sobriety, supposed to be doing the steps, but his mind is a million miles away. I mean, picture this. He's sitting in this sterile room, surrounded by people who are pouring their hearts out, crying about their ruined lives, and Nick is just staring at the wall. His leg is throbbing, his heart is racing, and all he sees is Matt's smug, disgusting face. He's not listening to the counselor. He's not doing the work. He's just waiting for the clock to run out so he can go find his next hit and plan his next attack. That is not recovery. That is a ticking time bomb. And it's a dangerous, deadly spiral. If he can't stop thinking about Matt, he's going to overdose. Or he's going to relapse so hard that he won't survive it. I mean, there was that one moment, right? That brief moment where it looked like he was turning it around. He sat down with Nikki and Victoria, and he confessed. He admitted he had a problem. He told his mom and his sister about the addiction. And I remember watching that scene and thinking, oh, thank God, he's finally getting it. I really thought he realized he needed their help, not the other way around. I thought he was going to let go, but I was wrong. I change my mind about Nick every other episode, I swear. Because right after that, he's back on his worst behavior. The core problem is that Nick absolutely refuses to let go of his fear. He is terrified of Matt, and instead of letting his family help him, he's pushing them away. Look at Adam. Adam has been trying so hard to save him. Down in Vegas, Adam was literally begging, tracking Matt down, trying to find Nick in that storage room. Adam knows the dark side. Adam knows what it's like to be consumed by demons. But Nick won't let Adam be the hero. Nick has to be the hero. And then there's Victor, good old Victor Newman. Victor gave Nick such a harsh, brutal reality check recently. And maybe I'm being too harsh on Victor here, because Victor is Victor, but his tough love approach. It completely backfired. Instead of waking Nick up, it just terrified him more. It made Nick feel even more isolated, even more like a failure. And when Nick feels like a failure, he reaches for the pills, he reaches for the fentanyl. Nick needs to realize something, and he needs to realize it fast. He needs to let Adam and Victor be the bad guys. Let them handle Matt Clark. Victor has a whole security team. Adam has his dark spider connections. They can take Matt down without breaking a sweat. But Nick is a father. He's a good man. He doesn't need to be the one to slay the dragon this time. He just needs to survive. But of course, he doesn't listen, and that brings us to the absolute catastrophe that we saw recently. The climax of all this terrible decision-making. Nick, completely out of his mind on Matt's poison drugs, trying to play the hero again. He gets it in his head that Sharon and Noah are in danger. So what does he do? He gets behind the wheel of a car while absolutely blasted on fentanyl. What were they thinking? Who actually believes this is going to end well? Nobody. And it didn't. The drugs kicked in so hard. The hallucinations started. He's driving like a maniac, and suddenly he sees Matt Clark standing right in the middle of the road, taunting him, waving at him, and Nick, in his drug-fueled rage, just floors it. He wants to run him down. He wants to end it. But Matt isn't really there. It's an illusion. And Nick drives his car straight off a cliff outside Genoa City. The sound of that crash, it was heart-wrenching. And now he's in the hospital, unconscious in a pile of smoking wreckage, and the doctors are telling Nicky that he might have permanent brain damage. Nicky screaming in the hospital hallway is a sound I will never, ever forget. It was brilliant acting, by the way, just phenomenal, but it's so tragic. Victor's standing there, completely silent, but you can see the absolute fire in his eyes. He is going to murder whoever gave his son those drugs, and we all know it's Matt. The sheer devastation of the Newman family right now is off the charts. The Newman empire is literally shaking at its foundations. Victor is a man who can control Wall Street. He can control politicians, but he could not control his own son's addiction. And that realization is going to make Victor more dangerous than we have seen him in years. So where do we go from here? The fans on social media are losing their minds. Half the people are furious at Nick for being so stupid, and the other half are just crying because it's such a tragic downfall for a legacy character. Honestly, I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm mad at him, but I'm also just heartbroken. Addiction is an ugly, ugly disease, and the writers are not shying away from it. They are showing how it strips away everything: your pride, your logic, your control. Nick wanted control so badly that he completely lost it. He wanted to be the hero so badly that he became the victim. It's a tragic irony, and now he might never wake up. Or if he does, he might not be the same Nick Newman we've known and loved for decades. It's terrifying. It really is. I just hope that when the dust settles, Matt Clark pays for this. I want Victor to rain absolute hellfire down on that man. I want Adam to unleash everything he has. Because Matt didn't just give Nick drugs, he weaponized Nick's own love for his family against him. He weaponized Nick's hero complex, and that is unforgivable. We'll have to wait and see what happens next week. But you guys, I am stressed. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you as exhausted by this storyline as I am, or are you loving the drama?